people love to make fun of the podcast owners, talking about, not everyone can run a podcast, this, that, and the third, but they fail to understand that it's those same podcast owners, community growers, relationship builders. Those are the same people who are going to be in charge of, the whole network in the next 10 years. I find it crazy because you're seeing this shit in real time. Your age mate, someone who you went to fucking maths class with or whatever, like, they started a podcast, you're laughing at them, you're clowning them to your friends on a sneak this thing. Whole time, they're going to be in control, bro. You're going to tune into their fucking network, bro. Because you have to remember that once upon a time, there was someone who believed in podcasts, for example. No one even batted an eye at them. Everyone thought like, yeah, this nigga talking shit, bro. This nigga crazy, bro. They went and started the podcast thing. Now they have a whole podcast platform. Like, who do you think runs the podcast segment on flipping Spotify, for example, or like Apple or some shit? People who believed in something before anyone else believed in it. And these same people are gonna need a successor. Like, they're gonna need someone who's gonna come down one day after they've stepped down. They're gonna need to come and just take over, like take this whole joint and flip it and just take control. And those same people who you see in front of you right now will be in charge of that social network. So be very careful with who you play about with, because they know this. I think that the people who are doing the things that they're doing, that you might be clowning them for, the people who are putting themselves in the public eye, who are really intentional each day with their shit, they know that, yeah, you ain't really hearing them right now, but 10 years from now, you're gonna hear them on the fucking TV. Like, you're gonna hear them on your iPhone, whatever it is, you're gonna hear them somewhere. And that's crazy. I think that's mad. I think that if you are one of the podcast owners, the community growers, or the relationship builders, I think that you gotta be happy, man. You gotta feel like you're on top of the fucking world, bro, because reality is you are, just not yet. You are, but just not yet. And even touching on that real quick, I heard something the other day and it was like, never say that you want to become something. You must always say that you are. Never sit there and talk about some, oh no, I want to be one of the greats. No, you have to already believe you are a great. You have it within you. You just need to unlock it. I think that's all it is, because I also had a conversation with someone and they were talking to me about, what do I think makes all the greats tick? Like, do I think greatness is either born inside of you or developed? Like, it's trained. You can really you can go out your way and just get great at something. And personally, I think that greatness is something that's within you. Everyone has greatness. Not even, in fact, fuck that, bro. I'm chatting shit. I'm being a bit too nice. Not everyone has greatness inside of them, bro. I'm chatting. Not everyone has greatness inside of them. A select few have greatness inside of them, but they need to learn to unlock it. Example being someone like Kobe Bryant. You lot have probably heard the story to do with my man, and it's that I think it was like 13 to 15, one of those ages, something like that, right? He went like 12 games. He didn't score a single point in basketball. And if you've played basketball, it's not that hard to score a point, bro. He ain't scored a point in like 12 games. Yet somehow, when he gets to like 20 or some shit, he's in the NBA. And I think that that's the greatness bone in him, just like the muscle story in him that's just like been unlocked. And it's like, yeah, he can achieve anything. Michael Jordan counted out to counted on. Don't forget that he was counted out to counted on. People look at Michael Jordan and they're like, nah, he's been balling, bro. No, bro. Michael Jordan didn't even make his school team or some shit, bro. Like, look where he is now. He's one of the greatest ever, bro. To me, he's the greatest ever anyways. But I think that it is like something inside of us that we must unlock in order to activate greatness. I don't think that greatness is something that anyone can just come and become. I don't think that someone can just learn something and become amazing and become the greatest ever to do it. I don't believe in that. I believe that greatness doesn't only come from your skill set, it comes from your mentality. I've spoke to people, right, who have been my age mates, whatever it is, and I'll never forget it. Like, example being, I spoke to this one person, right, back in like, when I was like 15, 16, yeah. And she's rapping to me and she's like, yo, I don't even think I'll be anything. She was like, I don't think I'll be a lot. I think that when I get to like 30, I'll just be scraping the bucket with like a sorry laugh. And I think to myself, I'm like, bro, what the fuck? I'm like, there ain't no way people are thinking like this, bro. There's no way. And that's crazy to me, because I can't look at that same person and be like, yeah, you have that gene in you. You have the ability to just like, change your fucking life. Because I don't think you do. And maybe I'm counting her out. I don't know. But at the end of the day, no one should be able to speak to themselves like that if they believe that they're destined for more. Because that's fucking crazy. Like, what do you mean you think you're going to be scraping the bucket? And I always think about sometimes, I'm like, when I think back to when I was like 15, 16, I already kind of knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted to be great. I knew that I had it in me to become a great, that I was one of the greats. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I always felt like I was ahead of my age mates, or like my curve, at least mentally. Like, I was never super focused academically. I was always like coasting. I'd say I was coasting. I was, in the middle, right? Never overly failing, never like overly achieving, just in the middle. And I was so happy with that, because it's like I had no intent of going uni. I had no intent of doing anything academic, working a corporate job. I had no intent. And I knew this from like 15, 16. So when it came to uni, I never went. And I just felt that like my maturity levels and what I envisioned and how I spoke to myself and the people around me was like, I could do something. Since young, people used to always ask me for advice, and that might be a telltale sign. People would ask me for advice and I'd give it to them, and like it would help them and whatnot. And here we are now, me advising you, or whatever you want to call this, saying my mind. And it's like, sometimes I think to myself and I say, what type of disservice would I be doing if I didn't give the world my art? And I believe this is my art, having the ability to just speak freely, say my mind, and put people onto some game. Like, you might agree with what I'm saying, you might not agree, but at the end of the day, just remember, man, be careful who you clown. Be careful. Remember that greatness is something that is already inside of you. You ain't got to go out and search for greatness. You just need to look within, look inwardly, and you'll get exactly what you're looking for. Once you look inwardly, you find that shit, you find the little spark that needs to be fucking ignited, yeah? You find that shit, and it's cash money from there, bro, You'll be able to get whatever you want out of life, I think, at that point. Because even me right now, yeah, my biggest hurdle is like consistency and like, I'd almost say discipline. I'm quite disciplined, but I prioritize things the wrong way sometimes, Instead of doing something at a set time, I might do it now, and it's like, yo, that's costed me the ability to go to the gym later, for example. You know what I'm trying to say? So, I don't know. I think that just remember, you'll find the thing inside of you that sets you apart from everyone else around you, and believe in whatever the fuck it is you're doing. If you're that podcast owner, you're that community grower, you're that person who's out there connecting with everyone in the fucking ends, outside the ends, across the countries, across the seas. Just remember that you better believe in your own shit, because at the end of the day, these same people are going to come running back to you when you're in charge of the network. And that's big love, man.